We have come together from different places, and we are at different stages in our journey through life. Our paths are varied. We look at life in different ways. One thing we have in common: at one point or another, and to some degree or other, our lives have touched the life of Pam's. And so we've turned aside from our accustomed ways. We've gathered here to give expression to the thoughts and the feelings that arise in us at this time of loss and completion. We are in the full, green, rainy time of spring. Life is springing out all around us. The air is warm, the days are growing longer. We know the cycle of seasons, spring to summer, autumn and winter. Human lives have their seasons too. We know that each one of us, hopefully, has a full cycle of seasons, and the wonder and the variety that comes with each. I welcome you all here to the Unitarian Universalists of Transylvania County. From wherever else you have been, thank you for coming to this space. Let us be honest with death. Let us not pretend that it is less than it is. It is separation, it is sorrow, it is grief. But neither let us pretend that death is more than it is. It's not annihilation. As long as memory endures, her influence will be felt. It's not an end to love. Humanity's need for love from each of us is boundless. It's not an end to joy and laughter. Nothing would less honor a vital soul than to make our lives drab. Let us be honest with death, for in that honesty we will understand life better and ourselves more deeply. But even in saying this, it's for us to first realize that death has not brought us here today. Life has. It's not given to us to know much about death, nor do I think we really want to. It's a fact of life. While that fact is inescapable, our consciousness, our awareness is always oriented towards life. We didn't come here because a person has died, but because she and we shared life. So it is that we've gathered to celebrate Pam's life, to consecrate the memories and the meanings that are a part of you because of her, and in so doing proclaim the glory of life itself even in the face of loss. It's also for us to realize that there is no such thing as life in general, only life in particular, as death so competently reminds us. Life in particular today means an individual so unique that from the world's multitudes we cannot replace her. And while the loss of her uniqueness may be cause of grief and sorrow now, it is an even greater cause for joy for all that she has brought to our lives and the many ways in which she enriched us. Pam was a part of our congregational choir when she could be, and the choir has come in to share one of the songs that Pam probably sang with us in choir one time. It's called "Oh Love" by Elaine Hagenberg. John, can't do that. We got people, we have family members online who want to hear you.
Hi out there, family members online. This is John Austin. I'm the director of the choir here. And I want to share a few of the words from this in case they don't come through in spite of our efforts to sing distinctly. Oh, love that will not let me go. Love, love, love continues through this whole song. The second verse is, oh, joy. And it goes back to, oh, love. That Well, I'm not going to tell you anymore. That's enough. It's just a song that we have sung recently in the choir on several occasions, and it is our joy and pleasure to be able to present it this morning for Pamela.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Thank you, choir and John and Carlene, thank you. I have some few details of her life. I know that some folks like to have these details, and some folks said, I read the obituary. I memorized the obituary. But I'd like to start with a few brief details and then go into more of the story. There will be a time later in this service in which family members will be adding their voice, and anyone in this room who has a brief memory to share or tribute to share will be welcome to come forward, or if mobility issues are in the way of coming forward, we will bring a microphone to you. Pamela was born in Englewood, New Jersey on June 11, 1941, to Nancy and Germaine G. Glidden, first of 3 daughters. Christine Dale, 2 years younger, and Diana Glidden, 11 years younger. She attended Wheeler Prep School in Providence, Rhode Island. And these are just a couple of details. And we know that she passed away peacefully on Saturday, April 13th, 2024. Pam had an interesting life. I learned that she lived in Switzerland for a year where she was young. She became fluent in French, the first of her trilingual accomplishments. Pam worked at the United Nations. She was there for, I think, 35 years for the United Nations. She married Mario Zapata then. And she also knew, Spanish, which helped her in later life when she was helping out in Costa Rica. Mario and Pam raised their 2 sons, Alex and Mario. She taught them to drive, to play tennis, to be better people. She also played tennis and golf, and golf continued throughout her life, including winning a tournament in Costa Rica just last November. She had attended college later. She achieved a BA degree in anthropology and an MSc in bilingual counseling at Hunter College in New York City. She had a great appreciation for cultures around the world. She participated in United Nations missions during the war in the former Republic of Yugoslavia. She did referendum work in the Western Sahara, assisted with the first democratic election in Mozambique. And she was grateful to all who had helped make her education possible, and for all that gave her exposure to the world. Now, she wasn't here in Brevard the whole time, and I know that's true of many of the folks in attendance here. You came from someplace else. I did too. She was a recent transplant from the seascapes of Hilton Head, South Carolina. She was there, she was a bilingual counselor at a Volunteers in Medicine clinic for over 13 years before moving to the beautiful mountains of Brevard. She enjoyed her retirement life here in Brevard and in Costa Rica for the last several years with her beloved partner and best friend, Alan Meehan, with whom she had spent the last 23 years traveling the world together. Pamela was generous with her time and was determined to make a better place of wherever she lived. Pam survived by her two sons, two grandsons, Adrian and Luciano, and her sister Diana. We'll transition at this point to Diana's song. She recorded this song, Drink in Life and Breathe, which we'll play before family and friends here and may speak a word or two.
When we have felt our heart, when we have learned our truth, when our beauty and youth fade, will we part? How we want to hold on, believe nothing will change. But everything gets rearranged. So go lie naked in the sun, naked feel the waters run, and remember always to drink and breathe. Remember always to drink in life and breathe. Faith is beyond hope and fear. All you need is to be here. You can run from your shadow, but it won't disappear. So go lie naked in the sun, naked feel the waters run, and remember always to drink in life and breathe. Remember always to drink and breathe. Remember always to drink and breathe.
Thank you. I have words here to read from Alan, who asked if I would read them aloud for him at this moment. These are in his voice. Wow, what a great life we had. Pam was my greatest joy. She always walked beside me, the love of my life, the best friend of my heart. A love like ours happens only once in a lifetime. Loving Pam has brought me so much joy and happiness. Pam, you were and always will be the love of my life. Pam and I met 23 years ago on a golf course in Hilton Head on the 4th of July, and sparks flew. After golf, Pam asked me for help attaching a file to an email, to which she repaid me with a dinner invite where she made meatloaf and mashed potatoes. I fell in love. Pam was a great cook and even wrote a cookbook for new mothers. Here in Brevard, Pam had many friendships, did volunteer work, had many hobbies, including making beautiful flower arrangements and gardening. Her love of art was inspired by her artist father, which her son and grandsons are pursuing. We spent the last 23 years traveling all over the world together, where we had so many wonderful experiences, and landed in Brevard, and the last few years also in Costa Rica. We loved to play and watch golf and tennis together so much. We learned to know what could make us laugh and cry. I learned how she looks at first light and how she feels in my arms. But mainly, how much I love her. When Pam and I played golf together, she would never give me any putts, even if it was only 3 inches away. She'd say, that's just the way the Gliddens do things. She came from a very competitive family, which I learned to admire. Pam was assertive, strong, independent, playful, loving, and caring. Just last year, Pam said happy birthday to me and that I was her Prince Charming and that she was lucky to hook up with a prince for her partner in life. I was the lucky one. We were both so thankful for our ability to smile and laugh together. We both cared so much for each other and our dog Evie. Evie trained us well and made us both so happy. Pam had a great sense of humor. And she learned the foods and languages of other people, and she would be willing to move around and travel anywhere. I was the lucky one to have a charming princess to love and laugh with in our life together. Big hug and kiss, Pam. I will keep learning from our memories and always love you. Thank you, Alan. Mario, I invite you to come forward and speak here. Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Standing up here, I feel like I need to say something inspirational and learned, so let's all prepare ourselves to be disappointed. I'm glad to be here. I've been here many times over the years. My mother loved singing in the choir. In fact, I would say for the last 25 years or so, we would speak every Sunday. And she was particularly happy after coming here and singing and being a part of this community. I'd also, to that end, like to thank Alan for putting this together. Also, my mother had extended family in South America. I probably shouldn't have tried to do this, but whatever. Give it a shot. My aunt is in Texas. And on April 22nd, they had a mass for her in Bolivia, which I did not attend. But I'd like to thank Eliana and her 2 children, Juan Ignacio and Natalie, for having that. There are apparently 5 stages of grief. I don't know what they are. I know one of them is anger. And I've been angry for about 4 or 5 months now. When my mother's memory started to fail, I would kid her because I'm, for all intent and purpose, 56 years old now. So my memory's not the best, and I would tell her that there's 3 things that happen when you get older. One is that your memory gets worse, and I can't remember the other 2. And she'd get a kick out of that. But the reason I'm angry is in November, of 2023, we were all in Costa Rica. My brother flew up from Bolivia, and we played golf, tennis. This is November of last year, mind you. And we played golf and tennis and had dinners and went to the beach with Alan. And we had a reunion of sorts. And 5 months later, we are in Charlotte driving to Asheville to a hospice center, the 4 of us, for a different sort of reunion. All right, I'll say this. The only thing worse, and I think I said this to my brother, the only thing worse than watching your mother mentally and physically and spiritually degenerate in front of you. While you literally, oh, thank you, yeah. While you literally, pardon me, hold her hand while she dies. The only thing worse than that would have been not to be there. So, I thank all of you for coming and for giving her an opportunity to be a part of this community. I'll say this, of all the things the Reverend mentioned, Western Sahara, former Yugoslavia, all the volunteer work she did, it's a bit embarrassing that I throw a conniption if I can't find the remote control. And she traveled the world trying to make the world a better place. And it's inspirational to have had a mother that tried. Thanks. Thank you.
And her son Alex had sent me a letter, being unable to come to Brevard. Dear Mom, it's entitled. Dear Mom, I have tried writing this a number of times, as if you were no longer here, but I cannot. When I close my eyes, I can still hear your voice. You still speak to me. I can feel your presence and the lifetime of shared dreams, worries, and plans. I will miss sharing these plans, whether planning our next reunion, me trekking my family across the continent to see you, or waiting for your arrival to come see us. Thank you for your generosity, Mom. Most of all, with your time. And for taking that time to let us all know how much you cared, and most of all, how much you loved us. That love was so very nourishing. It really soaked in deep. Please forgive me for all the times I made you worry or suffer. We made it through, and because we did, we were able to share so much together, the good, the bad, but mostly the good times and successes, of which there were plenty. I guess the sharing is what I will miss most of all. I love you, Mom. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You are now a part of me, inside of me, and everyone you have touched. We'll talk tomorrow. Signed, Alex. We have a video from Lori, her sharing in this service.
There are not enough words that can encompass the impact Pam has had on my life. Indeed, it is difficult to quantify such a remarkable and dynamic person. Pam and I met 30 years ago. Me, a lost teenager. Pam, a joyfully exuberant, wise, and graceful woman who saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. She took me under her wing and revealed to me my own potential. Pam gave me a taste of the finer things in life, but also taught me to savor the simple moments together. Pam always encouraged my curiosity, and particularly my love of languages and other cultures, by helping me get into the UN, a monumental accomplishment for an unremarkable girl like me. That one act expanded my world beyond measure. It helped develop my character, some of the most meaningful relationships I had and have today, my values, my goals, the way I socialize, and the way I interact with the world. There isn't a single part of my life that Pam hasn't influenced for the better. Our shared love of simple pleasures gave me unforgettable memories of picnics, sunsets, canoe and boat rides, our deep and meaningful talks, and of course Pam's delicious meals where no detail was overlooked, from ambiance to wine pairing. Pam was my mentor, giving me support, encouragement, understanding, and a mother love that I had never before trusted. I'm so incredibly grateful for our deep and enduring friendship. All that Pam has given me has enriched my whole heart and soul and has made me a better person, mother, and wife, and lives on in my daughter. She is dearly missed, and may she rest well.
I have a few written submissions here. This one's from Peggy Johnston, who says she's not going to be able to attend with her husband, Brad. So she asked that I read this. We met Pam and Alan on the tennis court at the Brevard Health and Racquet Club. I played tennis with Pam on a regular basis up until the COVID pandemic hit. She was an accomplished tennis player and loved the game as much as I do. We played doubles with different groups, and she was a very kind and forgiving partner most of the time. She loved her art and never came to our home as a guest without a thoughtful gift. She enjoyed music and loved singing with the choir. She especially loved her pup, Ellie, and she spent time helping some of the elementary children who were learning English as a second language. I will always remember our times together and will miss her very much. Patience, or Paishi McPherson, said that Pam was a mother, a teacher, a singer, a counselor, as well as a friend to many. She and I shared many special moments over 70 years. Pam created art out of everyday objects, and she welcomed many into her circle of family and friends. She sought new horizons in all of her travels. She ran her own United Nations in much of her outreach. Many of us are blessed by her presence in our lives, and for that we are thankful, and we miss her already. Godspeed on your new journey, Pam. Mary Lou McJunkin, and I'll ask Catherine to put photos up. said this: I will remember the beautiful, bright, light personality, a wicked drop shot, supportive friendship, the great sense of adventure, a love of family, and the dear relationship with Alan, heartfelt, heavenly, artistic eye and appreciation, and the brave, positive outlook as we shared difficult health issues when we last saw each other. When you and Alan find yourselves homeless, you rented our bear house, and upon our return, we found these treasures which exemplify your deep beauty. You will be missed by all who've had the good fortune to have known you. I invite others in this room who would like to share at this time to make known that you have something to share with us, to come forward here, or if for mobility issues you need me to come to you with a microphone, I can do that. Is there anyone who is feeling ready to share?
Also feel challenged behind the pulpit up here. That's my place over there. I didn't experience Pamela, Pamelita, on the tennis court or the golf course or in Mozambique or the Sahara. I experienced her on Wednesday afternoons and Sunday mornings in this space. That's all I knew of her. But I can tell you, and I think the choir members who are here would agree with this, she brought joy to us. That was the second verse of the song that we sang, "Oh Love." The second verse was "Oh Joy." And the verb that I associate with Pam is flit. She would flit around and then she'd be there and then she'd be flitting over here. And she sang soprano with us. And her shining face and her beautiful voice brought joy to all of us. And I would think, as a couple of people have mentioned up here, that experience also brought her joy. It was a win-win situation for all concerned. And I'm sure that I speak in this context for the members of the choir. And I'm not saying you can't follow me, but it was such a joy to know Pamelita. It was, I don't remember exactly. I remember one time I was talking with Pam and Alan, and I referred to Alan as her husband. She says, "Oh no," Pamela said. "Oh no, he's not my husband." So backed off from that right quick. I didn't know what he was, but he was standing there with her, and I learned later of the depth and the length of their experience together. Joy, singing, love, that was Pamela for us.
Okay. Need a hand coming up?
I was fortunate enough to meet Pam. And Ellen when they first moved to Brevard, Conisty Falls. We shared a duplex, and we had a lot of fun together and many cocktail parties. She particularly enjoyed my Portuguese artist husband, who they shared their artistic knowledge and friendship and Spanish and whatever else. And also Evie, I got to know Evie very well, their little dog, who sometimes they would call me and say, "We can't get home right away, could you go walk Evie?" Well, Evie had a mind of her own, and she would hide from me when I would try to take her out. And sometimes she would always lay out in the sun in the front. And you know, most dogs are happy to see you no matter what. Evie would look over and say, "Oh, it's only Marianne." And she'd just lay there. Other times she would greet me. I never knew what I was going to get. And Alan used to say, "She's just like her mother." But I had the fortunate to visit them recently in their beautiful condo in Costa Rica for a week. And early last year, or the year before, yeah. And we had a wonderful time. And we were there for Valentine's Day. So we celebrated Valentine's Day at the clubhouse. She always brought me flowers, that one up there with the things coming out, the dry flowers look familiar. And she could find a 4-leaf clover when nobody else could. Unbelievable. She was a real sweetheart. And a blessing to know her. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you. I'm assuming there are more stories for us to share over time, whether in the gathering right after this in the social hall with some refreshments, or when we meet and greet each other, maybe a note or two to Alan. Thank you. Thank you all for the sharing that you have provided. I invite you now into a time of prayer, meditation. Knowing we are from all different religious traditions, I will make this prayer open and inviting no matter which paths you have chosen. Spirit of love and life, we who are gathered here come with hearts that have been carved by the love and the exchange of knowing and living with Pam through these years. We know that what we have been taught in religion is that love is indeed one of those commandments that we have to be with one another with love. To love our neighbors. To love our friends. And yes, even to be challenged to recognize a certain worth and love of our enemies. Spirit of love and life, on this day we remember Pam, the connection, the knowing, and the enjoyment and joy that is a part of us because of her. May we, as we go about our living, remember that. And remember that in any ways in which our grief may be deep, it is because indeed, like the Grand Canyon, it was carved over time by the flow of being together and the love between us. Let us hold these prayers and the prayers of our hearts now in the silence. And may we lift up the name of the holy in each of our traditions and say, Amen. Blessed be. Our closing starts with a very brief 4-line poem by Rossiter Worthington Raymond. It reminds us life is eternal and love is immortal, and death is only a horizon, and a horizon is nothing save the limit of our sight. No eulogy can fully convey all that was her life. No stone monument will epitomize who she was. No tribute is ever going to capture her spirit. No history will do her justice. Only you can do right by her. And you can do so only by sharing your memories and your stories. And most importantly, by living so that others will remember the best of her in how you go about your life. No higher tribute can any human being receive. We invite you to remain seated. The song picked out by Alan to close this, Songbird by Eva Cassidy, and enjoy the slideshow.